All right, so I think we've sorted that out. Please, can you hear me clearly, sir?
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's get back to your the first time you saw her. You said you just met her twice.
Yes, I met her twice. The first time was at, I believe it was an MBA program
Okay.
in Aba, and the second one was at signing of the Peace Accord. And that's the only relationship that I've had with her.
Can you please come closer to the microphone?
Okay.
I've been struggling to hear you.
Oh, okay.
No, all the way straight up, this way.
Okay.
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
Much better.
Much better?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, the impression I had of her was that she must be a reputable person.
Okay.
She had apostle in front of her name. And then she says she's a medical doctor and she's a barrister.
Yeah.
So, and that she lives in the UK or somewhere. So when I read what she said, that I sent people to bribe her, I think she must be hallucinating.
But is it possible that some people would have just gone in your
No,
name?
it is impossible. What her problem is that her deputy and all the state executive council, from the chairman
Okay.
to the last person, came to me. I didn't know them from Adam. And they came to me and said that they wanted to collapse the structure under Labour Party. I invited officials of my party to engage with them.
Okay.
And after a few weeks, they came back to say they had a deal. And the deal was, we want to collapse. We do not require anything from you, because I was expecting that they would say they needed something.
Okay.
And we had a date. We were in Abuja, in Aba, and they came and declared support for Labour Party. The deputy governorship candidate of SDP also withdrew from the race. So, having done that, that means that the ticket has collapsed.
Yeah.
And she knows the ticket has collapsed. So if the ticket has collapsed, why do I need to bribe her? She's not in the race because...
Well, she had claimed in the studio that the deputy governorship candidate for the SCB was sick and had to, give way while she ran things.
I have copies of exchange of messages between her and the deputy governorship candidate. So it was a lie. And if you call yourself an apostle, you shouldn't be telling lies. But I don't want to engage with her because it's a distraction that one doesn't need now. But what I'm telling you is that it's not even in my character to send people to bribe. Why do I need to bribe her? She's not a threat, for crying out loud. So, but I have respect for her because she says she's an apostle. But she should live by the creed of an apostle. She shouldn't be telling lies. I never sent anybody to her. I have no reason to send anybody to her. And according to the law, the ticket has collapsed. It's a joint ticket. And once the deputy has withdrawn and it's past the time to change the nominee, that's all about it. And she should stop deceiving herself and deceiving her followers. She should just come out clean and tell them that the ticket has collapsed.
All right, having gone past that, I mean, there's a video that is circulating that I brought the attention of your special advisor. I had him on air today. And, he also mentioned the fact that the person in that video who claims he's a first-class holder in criminology, that's his master's, Okamuta, called you a lot of names. I mean, described you in certain ways that I wonder what you think about that video, if you even have seen it. I would want to spare you time by not playing it on air now, because it's not worthy of airplay, so to say. But then first, have you seen that video?
Oh yes, I've seen it, and I know Kiamuta very well. He's an elder, and
that makes it seem like
as an elder, I think he's entitled to his opinion.
Okay.
So all what he expressed there were his opinions, and I give him the right to his opinion. But then, as an elder, you should also know the limits.
Yeah.
Facts are sacred. He talks about, he says he has a master first class in his masters in criminology. I'm hearing that for the first time, that there's first class in masters. But that's okay. He says all sorts of things. That's okay. Those are his opinion.
Okay.
I just want to remind him, because he says we should watch out for part 2.
Okay.
So when he's recording the part 2, he should not forget to tell us his political inclinations and tell us.
He said he's of the APC.
No, he's not of the APC. If he says he's of the APC, I'm sure he's lying. But then I know where he is. He needs to tell the world where he is. Secondly, he needs to also tell us where his factories and his investment are in Abia State, because he challenged me that I do not have investments in Abia.
Do you have investments in Abia State?
Of course, I do have an investment. I have investments in Abia, and it's not his business to query my investments.
Yeah.
He's not in a position to do that. The final thing is, because I've never done any business with him.
Okay.
So when he's questioning my integrity, then he needs to come with proof, facts. But I dismiss it as the ranting of.
So you're not taking legal actions?
I don't think it's worth it. I don't think it's worth it. You'll be celebrating him when you do. But of course, people are looking at it, because there are some of the things he published there that are actually libelous.
Yeah.
So if my lawyers advise that legal action should be taken, then I wouldn't have a choice. But quite frankly, as an elder, I wouldn't want to join issues with him. He's free to express his opinion. And the question to ask is, why a few days before a very serious election?
Yeah.
So I believe it has political undertones, but that's okay.
Well, a few days to the general elections, you had a big rally that probably would have taken over the state, which is the visit of the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, your party, His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi. But then, not Tabianya, if I had to add that, that was called off. But then, on the social media, letters surfaced and has been shared widely. Certain groups of people calling for Peter Obi not to honor the invitation or not to come to Abia State to campaign for you. First and foremost, I mean, it would be appropriate to ask you, why was that cancelled? Why was it put on hold? Are we going to have another date?
Of course, if you read the release from us, there are a few things that are happening and that required him to be in Abuja today, particularly the litigation that he has just started. So that is the only reason it was cancelled. And I have also said that he's going to come to Abia State before the election. Now, about social media reports and then the groups asking for him not to come. He's a Nigerian and he's free to go anywhere he wants to go. I think people are just scared.
Yeah.
People are running scared. People are worried that they have lost the election. And
why are you so confident?
Well, when you look at it, in this race, actually, I stand out, even if at the risk of sounding immodest. I stand out from the crowd, and I do have programs. I do have understanding of what to do, a better understanding than any of my competitors. So that's why I'm confident.
Some people say you're desperate.
Well, it depends on how you define desperation. I would rather say I'm passionate. Okay. I'm committed. I'm consistent. I know what I've come to do. It hasn't been done. If somebody else had done it, I'll probably not be here.
Really?
I'm not looking for a job. I have a day job. I have a second address. I have things I'm doing. I'm very busy. But I come from here. And our place has been decimated. We've been called all sorts of names. When you go outside this place and introduce yourself as coming from Abia State, people start sympathizing with you. They start pitying you. Hey, yeah, so sorry, Abia,
really?
And I'm sure you've seen that video by some with a girl.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That says, area for 8 years, another 8 years, another 8 years. And then the lady dismisses us and says, no, we're not on Abia State. There's no man here. And then she's there, so I don't feel comfortable. I'm a man that has shame. And I feel ashamed when I see the state that my state is in. And that's why I'm in this race. We want to fix this state. And we believe we have the capacity, we have the competence, we have the reach, we have the capital to turn the story around. Our people are suffering. 51% of our young people are unemployed today. Almost twice the national average of 33.3%. If you understand economics, once unemployment rate begins to go beyond the 3 to 5% margin, governments start panicking. We're at 51%. And we only wonder why unknown gunmen, banditry, kidnapping, armed robbery has become the order of the day. Our young people don't have anything to do. So we need to create jobs for them. We need to industrialize the state. We need to clean up the mess that is Aba. We need to rebuild that place. There's a lot of work to do. Payment of salaries is just one of the easiest things that anybody can do. But we're not even paying simple salaries.
But then
somebody has worked for you.
Someone who understands economics and financial situation, governments have continued to claim that the running cost is on the high, and of course the income allocations to the states are not even enough to take on capital projects. As it were now, do you think what is coming into the state will be able to take care of the salaries? Because I've read in a place where I think an article or news piece that you have a time frame for that you intend to clear the backlogs that have been accrued to Abia State.
Good question you asked there. Let me first of all tell you that outside Nigeria, I don't know any other country, we have people go cap in hand to their federal capital.
Okay.
And then share money. Go and check. So there's nowhere else. So you need to sit down and create wealth. You need to generate your revenue. Of course, taxes can be paid. You can use the resources within your territory to develop your place. But then, because of this oil money that has made a lot of us very lazy. So at the end of the day, everybody goes to Abuja, and we are dependent on Abuja. Think of our oil drying, or oil becoming irrelevant, like the world is trying. By 2030 in Europe,
electric cars.
Yeah, any vehicle that uses that's combustible engine
emissions and all
would be phased out. So you are going to be using electric cars and all that. So that would depress the demand of crude. So we need to be prepared for net zero emission. So even if that does not happen, oil is a resource that can dry up. So assuming it happens tomorrow, how are you going to live? Times were when we had not found oil and Nigeria was doing very well. The eastern Nigerian economy was the fastest growing economy in the world without oil under Dr. M.I. Obara. So what happened? It is the ingenuity, it is the skill, it is the knowledge that actually produces wealth, not materials, not crude oil. Okay, so our government will be creating wealth internally, and that will put pressure on you to industrialize your economy, to harness the benefits of the digital economy. It will help you to look inwards and use the resources that you have to run your economy. That is how it is done. So yes, oil money while it lasts is good, but the reality is that you have to prepare for a rainy day. But now let me also shock you. In the first 11 months of last year, NNPC contributed zero. I mean, nothing to the federation account.
Because of COVID-19.
No.
Okay, why?
There was oil theft. Then there was also a drop in the prices of oil that has gone up. That is relating to the COVID-19 that you talked about.
Okay.
Okay. So, all the revenue that NNPC made were used to fund subsidy, which was termed under recovery because it was not in the budget. So the point is that all the money that was shared in those 11 months were printed money, what governments call ways and means. And if you followed, in December, the president of the country sent a bill to the National Assembly trying to restructure 23.7 trillion naira ways and means money printed.
Just to support
which,
the economy.
to share in Abuja. So you think it will continue like that in 2023? No. And that's why it becomes very, very necessary that anybody who aspires to be governor will understand how to create wealth. If you cannot create wealth, then the state will die. It will become a failed state.
Do you have a focus in mind? I mean, talking about wealth creation, is there something that you have laid out, you hit the ground running with it?
Of course.
Do you mind sharing? Just a little bit.
I'll give you a little bit of what we're trying to do.
Okay.
But we also see people copying and pasting. So
yeah.
So I'll keep some of it to myself. One of the first things that we need to do is to begin to industrialize the state.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. Governments everywhere in the world leads the charge for industrialization.
Okay.
Here you see a lot of people talking about, the private sector. The private sector, yes, will come in at some point, but you must create the enabling environment. Today, in the Ease of Doing Business Index, which is a World Bank measure for how prepared states and countries are to receive investments, both foreign and local, Abia State ranks 32 over 36 states. So what that means is that if you want to invest money and you are somewhere, you don't even need to visit Nigeria. There are 31 other states that will take priority before you remember Abia State. So if you don't create the infrastructure, if you don't create the enabling environment, if your tax rates are not attractive, if you don't prepare yourself like somebody that is going to be looking for a husband, assuming you're a woman, you don't prepare yourself well, people will just pass you by. So one of the things that we'll do is to create an enabling environment for investments to come in. And as government will lead the charge. When we were growing up, the factory road in Aba was littered with a lot of industries. I remember Aba Texani, which was easily one of the largest employers of labor. Today, Aba Texani is disappeared. And on that factory road, we had Nigerian breweries, Diva Brothers, PZ, Bata, Lennox, making shoes. And then as you go further on Omongasi area, you will see makers of Palmolive, International Equitable Association at Nicholas Avenue. All those industries have disappeared. So we need to bring back industries into Abia. One of the ones that I'm passionate about is the Aba Texami. And they knew a modern Aba Texami will be championed by my administration. Modern ceramics industry is one of them that was in Umuahia before it collapsed. Why did the governments of yesteryear set up modern ceramics industry? Because of kaolin that is found in Ohia and other parts of Umuahia South. So we need to today is being mined and shipped to China, and we buy all our sanitary wares, all our marbles, all our granite from China and some parts of Europe. We can produce them and sell them to Nigerians and actually export them. So that is a major part of our agenda. So, and by the time you industrialize your state, every other thing would run on the back of that industrialization. And today, you find that because of technology, it doesn't really cost that much like it used to cost in the past. So, and our people are very, very creative. One of the things that Aba has is that it combines what you have in Onitsha with what you have in Nnewi. Onitsha is a commercial hub. Nnewi is an industrial hub. So Aba combines the two. And if you leave Aba to die the way it's dying, then you shoot your internally generated revenue in the food.
But
And that's why this government is struggling.
What would you say is making Aba die, in quote?
Successive governments have abandoned Aba.
But the focus of this state government has been on Aba.
Well, in terms of promises and in terms of cheap talks, you find anytime it rains, Aba is submerged. The road infrastructural network in Aba is the worst in the country. Aba stinks today. So those are realities. So it doesn't matter what the government is claiming. If you go to Aba or if you do live in Aba, one of the ways to check is the value of your property.
Yeah.
So a lot of properties are empty. Nobody's. So Aba, for us, is going to be completely rebuilt. The first thing that we'll do is to channel that water from the Ariaria end or the Ndiegoro and all that, channel the water into the water side, so that any road that you build would stand the test of time. You can see you've been struggling with Forks Road for several years, a lot of money spent, and nothing comes out of it. So Aba needs serious attention. And in our manifesto, we had documented that we're going to create a ministry in charge of Aba. That's all they will do. And
Ministry for Aba.
That's right.
Do you think it will actually
You just have somebody.
get the job done?
You just have somebody who understands what to do. His 24-hour job is to redevelop and recreate Aba.
Is that going to be a technocrat or a politician?
Of course, it's going to be a technocrat. Those kind of jobs, you give it to those people who understand what to do. It's just like asking me if you will give a medical, give a politician a medical institution to run. You need a doctor, you need somebody down. I'm talking about medical institution. We also intend to create a medical village in Abia. Today, Nigeria spends somewhere around $1.6 billion annually on medical tourism.
Okay.
Yes, and a chunk of it goes to India, Dubai, and then, of course, Europe and America. We are not greedy. We will set up a state-of-the-art medical village. We will staff it properly. We ensure that all the facilities that you can think of are there.
Doctors from Nigeria or foreign doctors?
It doesn't matter. There are a lot of Nigerian doctors who today are practicing in Cuba, in Dubai, in India, and particularly in the US. One of my hospitals in California has about 10 Abia doctors.
Your hospital's your personal hospital?
No, one of the hospitals I use in California. Yes. And I was shocked when I realized that a lot of our brothers and sisters are there, and engaging with them, they are eager to come back. But they want to ensure that there is security. They want to ensure that there's good housing for them. They will be paid very well, and they will just live a good life that is comparable to the ones they live in California. So, and our target is that at the minimum 10% of that $1.6 billion that is spent every year will be spent in Abia. And I'm sure that if you were in Lagos and you have an ailment that can easily be treated just by flying for 30 minutes or 1 hour to come to Abia State, and your option is to fly for 9 hours to India. I mean, your guess would be as good as
But
mine.
we don't have
Which
an
option?
airport.
Well, you don't have an airport.
We don't have an airport.
Yes, we don't have an airport, but there's an airport in Owerri.
Yeah.
So for now, what you need to do is to ensure that the routes that lead to that airport are properly built.
Okay.
And as time goes on, airport will not be priority because there are a lot of things to deal with. But as time goes on, we also would have an airport. And it's not rocket science. I was watching yesterday as the Ogun State governor was commissioning an airport.
Yeah.
Ebonyi State has built one.
Well, a lot of people have talked about the proximity of the Enugu and the Sambakwe airport and the fact that
absolutely
you have
And
one in
that's the-
Uyo.
That's the point. There's one in Uyo, there's one in Ebonyi, there's one in Owerri. Port Harcourt is now shorter because the roads are looking better. So that's why I said airport will not be priority. Over time, Anambra has done
An airport.
a good airport. So I really think that we can do so much even without having an airport in the first instance.
All right, let's talk about your cabinet. I mean, yes, the elections are only a few days, 3 or 4 days away, right? And some persons who have had conversations with governorship candidates have said, yes, I mean, if I get into office, I already know who and who are capable persons who I will be able to work with. I mean, do you have like some sort of list on your mind? Say, okay, this is going to be my chief of staff. I'm going to have so and so commissioners first. I'm going to appoint this. And is this going to be across party lines?
Well, I've been thinking through it, and
Okay.
I've been penciling down names, but I can't tell you
Who?
with certainty that I'm completely done with it. But it will be a mixture of technocrats and non-technocrats. Areas where you require technocrats, a square peg in a square hole.
Okay.
That's what I'm known for. So I'm known for hiring well. So I will ensure that I have the right people who will deliver me the results that I expect. to get.
Are you going to be looking outside the Labour Party?
Absolutely. If there's somebody with skills, somebody, I think it was Soludo that once said that if he sees a Pakistani or a Lebanese that can produce him 24-hour power, that is going to appoint him commissioner for power. So there are some areas where you must get experts. And of course, there are some areas where you don't need experts. So it's going to be a balanced cabinet. We ensure that everybody, or every interest, or most interests are represented. One interesting thing is that Abia State has a lot of people that are qualified.
Yeah.
If you engage with some of our people, they are very bright minds. Unfortunately, where we have failed is in the area of leadership. And again, it is because of the selection process. And when you see people taking up airtime, going to record video and abusing me and all that, is because I do not belong to that clique that has seized and hijacked and kidnapped leadership in Nigeria. I mean, in Abia State.
Yeah.
So some of them are afraid. They talk about stomach infrastructure. Some of them are.
There's
don't
this stuff
have-
that you don't give shishi.
We know they give shishi now. We are Labour Party. But we'll create wealth.
Yeah.
So every job must not be with government. But if we have created the enabling environment, your business can thrive. You
There's
can
this talk
grow.
about you downsizing. It says that you have put out a statement that you intend to cut down on the workforce of the state government.
I'm sure when you read it, you know it is propaganda.
No, I want you to dispel it here on air.
Well, we had already done that. First of all, I had said I was coming to create jobs, and I had said it time and time again. So you can't be downsizing when you want to create jobs. You can't be throwing people into the labor market. When I'm screaming myself worse that unemployment is at 51%. So
But
it's
then, what
not
do you
true.
think about the fact that the state government is over bloated?
Well, if it is over bloated, when we get there, we'll know what to do with it. But then the point is that it's a claim when you say it's over bloated.
Yeah.
I think what is happening is that the successive administrations don't understand that when you owe workers, you shoot your economy on the foot, because you need to put money in the hands of people, particularly when your economy is struggling.
Yeah.
What we call stimulating the economy. So when you are owing 56 months pension arrears, when you are owing 25 months or 26 months salaries like doctors are being owed today, I'm sure you know that they're on strike.
88 days now.
So when you are owing civil servants, and then you now make a distinction between core and non-core, whatever that means, people are being owed, they are being owed. So the economy will struggle more. But when you release money, even if you don't have the money, but you need to put money in the hands of people so that they can take the demand decision. And I have said that it's only when people make that decision that the supply decision can be made. And the supply decision will lead you to a production decision. The production decision will lead you to a job creation decision, which will reduce poverty, improve internally generated revenue, and reduce insecurity. But unfortunately, our people think it's just about putting all the money in your pocket, transferring them abroad, and all those monies are useless to your economy. The money that is useful to your economy is the one that you spend. Within the economy, this economy is a 3.5 trillion naira economy, can easily become a 10 trillion economy just by doing simple things right, including payment of salaries. But unfortunately, our people don't do it. So, answer to your question, I never said and will never say that I will reduce the workforce. It's even going to be premature for me to say that, because I need to go in and understand what is happening there. We work with planning, so you need to go in, study, understand, and then before you take a decision. So it's propaganda, lies from the pit of hell. They are looking for what to hold on to, straws.
Okay. Well, very recently, the Obidati movement had a wave that swept across the country, despite the fact that the presidential elections seem to have turned out the way it is, or it is right now. And we're seeing that there's going to be litigations, from your party. But then the young people have, been very vocal about, installing the Labour Party across the country. How do you think that's going to impact your candidacy? Your elections in the state level, right? Some persons have said the Obi wave has faded away. Do you agree with that? And what are your plans for the young? It's like a triple-decker question, but then the young people in focus now.
Well, it's a narrative that Obi wave has faded away. And it's what people want to believe that they put out there.
Okay.
I'm sure that you know that the Obi wave can never fade away, whether he lost election or he won election. People also who know Obi very well, as Okutendigbo, will know that Obi does not give up easily. And if you step back a little bit to how he became governor of Anambra State. He won an election, it was stolen. He retrieved it 3 years after from the Supreme Court. And shortly after he was sworn in, he was impeached by the House of Assembly that was dominated by the rival PDP at that time, because he was in APGA. He went back to court and then subsequently retrieved his, the court brought him back as the governor.
Yeah.
6 months later, it was time for another general election, and he told INEC at that time that he had just been in power for 1 year, and they ignored him, organized an election, and installed another governor of the PDP stock. He went back to court, and then 6 months later, he reclaimed his mandate and came back as governor. So he understands some of these things, and he had come out to assure and reassure our people that we shouldn't lose hope, that he will reclaim his mandate. He's convinced, and most people in Nigeria are convinced that he won the election. So, and I believe that.
Are you convinced?
I'm convinced. Okay. I hope you are convinced too.
Oh, well, I cannot say anything other than what INEC has put out.
Okay, well, I think what INEC has put out is very doubtful. But that's for the courts to determine.
Yeah.
But personally, I'm convinced that he won that election. Okay, and it will be proved in court. And he had gone out there and reassured people that he will reclaim his mandate. So, if anything, I think the Obi wave has taken a new dimension, and people are now very angry. And they want to support him with governors and legislators that would champion the cause, even from government before he takes over. Now, having said that, the next question you asked, and I think you also did ask a question about his coming, and I said he would still come to Abia State. He has assured us that, but then there are things that take priority. The issue of him having agreement, I don't think he had any agreement with anybody, and he has also said that much to me.
Okay.
And if he did have an agreement, the leader of the so-called G5 governors, we have it on good authority that he supported the APC presidential candidate. I don't know where. I know that the governor of Benue State supported the Labour Party, but the rest of them that lost election to Senate, I don't know who they supported. So if there was an agreement, they were the first ones to breach it. So they cannot lay claims to any such agreement. But I know that Mr. P2B himself had told me that he had no agreement with anybody. So for me, I think we're in a good place. We're in a good state to win that election. And that is why you see all the darts that are being aimed at me. But I'm not perturbed. And I believe that Abia people are smart enough. Abia people are intelligent. They are taking them for a fool. They are taking them for a ride without a car. And I like to just advise them that they should concentrate on preparing themselves for the election. And I believe that by the grace of God, that we are going to emerge victorious. We've won election in this state before. Unfortunately, it was stolen, and it is the mandate that the outgoing governor is exercising. It was a stolen mandate, and he knows that. And sometimes when they sit back in the inner recesses of their home, their conscience pricks them. And you know, there's a way God works. Sometimes when you insist on taking something that doesn't belong to you, God may say, okay, take it, but then he will hold back something. 8 years down the line, how market? That is the question.
All right, we'll go on the break and let's go to the market. When we get back, I'll open up the phone lines for a few minutes, probably 5 minutes, and you'll get a chance to ask a question or make a contribution for 1 minute or at most. Yes, would want to limit the time because of this is actually a simulcast. So take a moment, and when we return, you get to call into the studio 0916 0333 965 0916 0333 965 or 0916 000 965 0916 000 965.
Dr. Lexoti Chiwabia o Abia Gadima o Labour Party we run on do Iadiwo ma o Dr. Lexoti Chiwabia o Abia Gadima o Labour Party we run on do Iadiwo ma o Umunne mu o ndi Abia nile o Ndi Abia State ndi nje mo anu mu Okuna hula ni yoma na nyabarandu Okuna hula ni yoma na nyabarandu Dr. Lexoti wokoma o Omenu kabia wokoma de ma Were PTC gipota o Jewa ebe sere nne na nna na nwa Ebe ubu Labour Party le yo
I do the Labour Party. Dr. Lexoti, the obedient. Dr. Lexoti, the obedient. Dr. Lexoti, Chiwabia, Abiagadema. Dr. Lexoti, we Rotichi, Inya, the woman Abia.
Dr. Lexoti, Chiwabia, Abiagadema. Labour Party, we run on to Inya, the woman.
Labour Party, Papa, Mama, Piki.
Well, glad to know you're still tuned in to this exclusive conversation with the governorship candidate of the Labour Party. And just to let you know, this is a live simulcast on Rapid 96.5, Flow 94.9, Family Love 99.9, and Magic 102.9 FM or Naba. All right, so we are going to take these calls now. We do have Dr. Alex Oti in the studio. So just limit your conversations to 1 minute, please. Questions or contributions? Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening. What's your name?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. What's your name?
Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening. Can you hear me? Oh, my God. Hello, good evening to you.
Hello, good evening.
Please, can you turn down the volume on your radio?
Sorry, I'm off.
Okay, so what's your name?
Obon Nangozi from Umani.
All right, question or contribution? You have 45 seconds, please.
Yes, I think I've been keen to hear the governorship aspirant. I hope he will do what he has promised to do. Dr. Alex Oti has been a good man. From what I heard about him, I think he's the designated governor to be in Abia State. I wish him luck, but I want him to look into local government system. That place is the desert limit. So let him look into it and see what he can do to reorganize the local government system.
All right, thank you very much. Hello.
Hello. Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, TC. Good evening, Dr. Alex Oti.
Good evening. What's your name, please?
My name is Ifeanyi Chukwu. I'm calling you from Olokoro.
Go ahead, please.
Yes, I also have one question for Dr. Alex Oti. Please, I heard when you said the current unemployment for youth is about 51%. I want to know the special package you have for the youth, and secondly, I want to know what the plans you have for the young entrepreneurs in Niger State. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you very much. Hello, good evening to you.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening. What's your name?
My name is Ambi Chidobim, calling from Umobia Housing Estate.
All right.
Okay, I want to tell His Excellency, the incoming governor of Abia State, Alex Oti, that we are solidly behind him. We have followed him for some time, and by God's grace, he will win this coming election. One of the things I would like him to do is to ensure that Abia State has a government house.
All right. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening. This is Raji calling from Umaya.
Glad to have you.
We like Alex Oti, and he's the man we are solidly behind. So you should work hard, and you should not quit. Come this Saturday, every of the Abians will vote for him, and he should do good things for the youth. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, I think we've done 4. Let's just do one last one, and we'll wrap it up. Hello.
Yeah, hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening. What's your name, please?
My name is Rosita. I'm calling from Umaya Township.
Okay.
Good evening, Alex Oti.
Good evening.
Yeah, I just have a very simple question for you. Please, do you have a proper, lineup of polling agents across all the whole polling agents in the country, not in the country, in the states, to avert a case where, some charlatanous agents of agents that derail progress, who may want to cause mayhem or havoc by trying to change you by way of, tampering with the result sheets or counseling or, trying to upload wrong figures, just like we saw last 2 weeks in the presidential election. I would like you to answer me and know. I would like to know whether, you have agents cut across all polling units in this state, because I think the time for positive.
Thank you. I'll probably do one more. Just one more. Okay. Hello.
Good evening, Temple Bara.
Good evening. What's your name, please?
My name is Comrade Uche Okrokalo from Opera Avenue, Yainomaya.
Okay.
Good evening, Dr. Alex Oti.
Good evening.
Yeah, I want to sincerely commend you for your doggedness and your resilience all these years since 2015. In fact, you have been the lone opposition voice in Abia, speaking for those that have been suppressed by the present PDP government in Abia State. Even though I have a preferred candidate going into this election, sir, I want to tell you that I believe in your ability to bring a paradigm shift in Abia. And I strongly believe that you are going to run a private sector driven economy, economy in Abia State, going by your vast experience in financial sector.
All right.
Keep the fire burning.
Thank you. All right, so we're practically out of time, and I'll just allow His Excellency, Dr. Alex Oti, to respond and, of course, make his final submission.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. The first question was from Ubunna Ngozi. He hopes I will keep my promises. And then he also recommends that I reorganize the local government system. My promises will be kept. My word is my bond. Yes, I agree with you completely that we need to look into the local government system. The first thing that we'll do is to ensure that we have credible people running the local governments, and then of course we will now ensure that local government autonomy is implemented. Ifeanyi Chukwu spoke about unemployment and wants to know my plan for the youth. So when I'm talking about job creation, it's about the youth. When I'm talking of skills acquisition, it is for the youth. When I'm talking of the reduction of insecurity to the barest minimum, when I talk about poverty elimination, not alleviation, but elimination, is also about the youth. The youth population is so large, not just in Abia, but in Nigeria. So, and anyone that doesn't have any plan for the youth is doomed. So, and then I've also spoken about, you talked about the plans I have for entrepreneurs. Again, we will support entrepreneurs. A lot of times the problem is funding, access, and that is our tough. We have worked with money all throughout my life, and I know we have to source money, and we have to ensure how to ensure that it goes to the right places, and what better place to go and to support entrepreneurship. We are going to create cooperative societies that will ensure that the young people who are entrepreneurial and who have skills get very cheap funding. In fact, the funding should be interest-free to support the businesses. We already have a model that we'll implement as soon as we come into government. The third person that spoke, Ambich, I believe, I want to thank you for your endorsement. The question about government house, yes, we do know that it's not just government house. Somewhere here, as it is today, is a glorified village. So we intend to also develop Umuahia to begin to look like a state capital. And government house is one of the projects that we will undertake. Maybe not immediately, but we will ultimately do that because it's very important. Oji, yours is also an endorsement and support. I'd like to thank you for your very kind words. And by His grace, we would take over on the 29th of May and begin to give this state a purposeful government and governance. Osita was asking about polling agents and to avoid charlatans from tampering with the electoral process. Yes, we do have, and we also did have polling agents in all the polling units, the 4,062 reduced to 4,050 because there were about 12 of them that election did not hold. So we had polling agents and we will still have polling agents in all the polling units for the Saturday election. The last one was from Comrade Kano, who commended me as the lone opposition voice in the state. I thank you, Comrade, for that positive comment. You said you had a preferred candidate. I hope that your preferred candidate is me.
He said it wasn't you.
Okay, it wasn't me, but it has to be me now that you have given me this commendation, because that means that your preferred candidate said nothing in the last 8 years when the government of this state has been beating around the bush. Final comments. I'd like to thank you, Bara, for this opportunity to be at your studio. Very beautiful environment. I think I like what I'm seeing here.
Thank you very much.
This is how I want Abia to look like.
Thank you.
Then I want to call on listeners. Nobody should sleep on Saturday, and I hope the election goes on Saturday. A few things don't seem to have been done. Configuration of beavers. There's INEC, I understand, lost their plea at the Court of Appeal to vacate the injunction placed by Federal High Court asking them not to tamper with the beavers. So we hope the election will go ahead, and if it does go ahead, please, everyone should come out on time very early. Be there before INEC arrives and ensure that you vote Labour Party. And as you do that, you would have started contributing to the journey to reclaiming Abia State and putting it on a sound foot for development and progress. It is imperative that everybody comes out and votes Labour Party. We cannot afford to leave this state in the hands of very poor leaders. We cannot continue to leave this state in the hands of godfathers who are more interested in sharing money than creating wealth. We need to all, irrespective of what party you belong, we need to all come out and support the Labour Party on Saturday. Again, thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Alex Oti, Labour Party gubernatorial candidate. We'll have lots of comments on the live stream. One from where Gideon Edo, Victor, Martin Darling, Chika Arthur there's a whole lot here. I'm sure that
What are they saying?
What a lot to say. I wanted to ask you, who handles your social media for you? Do you handle your social media yourself? Or are you on social media?
I'm on social media, and
So,
I'm sure you see what I post.
Okay, so what we'll do is probably forward you the link. Can you take your time and read and probably respond to these people
By all means.
who have said a lot of things, positive about your candidature?
Please, go ahead.
Thank you very much for coming on this program to have this exclusive chat. It's been no holds barred, and of course, if it were possible, I'd say let's have another conversation before Friday, and get to listen to you more on what your plans are.
Okay.
It's been a pleasure.
All right. So fix it, and I'll be here.
No problem. No problem.
All right. Thank you very much. Good night.
Good night.
Dr. Lesoti, onye na-ele anya ya bịarụla. Abia Steeti ga dị mma ma ọ banye na gọọmenti haụsụ. Ebere dị na